A very good evening, and thanks for clicking on to Vogan's European Outlook for Friday, the 31st of March. Before we get into the video, please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Of course, I'm on YouTube, on Facebook, as well as Twitter. So, plenty of social media coverage of the weather and the content I provide on a daily basis. So, do indeed check out these all this content if you haven't already done so. And if you're new to the channel, welcome and thanks for watching. It is monthly Outlook Day. We are looking at now the month of April, and the forecast, the Outlook, is now out, available, and has only been released in the last few minutes on markvoganweather.com. I will leave a link in the description below so you can have a look at that. It looks back at the month of March. Dramatic contrast between February and March in terms of rainfall and even temperature, probably a fraction below average temperature wise, significantly above average rainfall wise versus the month of February here. So I'll go into quite a bit of detail about the month of March that's just gone, and indeed previous Marches also, a little bit of a comparison. You can see here, these are images that I've captured between 2023, there's back to 2018, of course, the Beast from the East, and the Forgotten Beast from the East back in 2013, which essentially shut down the southwest of Scotland and northwestern portions of England. Of course, we had the most significant period of cold for northern Britain since 2001, believe it or not. We had a run of 4 straight nights below minus 13.6. So 3 of those coldest temperatures was at Altnahara, and Cumbrace was the first place at minus 15.4 Celsius here. So do indeed check that out. There's been a lot of work, as always, put into that. And then I go on to talk about the month of April. So how is April looking? It looks to me like the hangover effects once again of this major southern stratospheric warming continues to show its hand. Now I believe anyway that the cold that we've seen over the northern half of Europe in recent times is still that consequence of the major stratospheric warming. We had temperatures that have been the coldest levels for this late in the season, I believe, on record for parts of northern Scandinavia. Temperatures down in minus 37, or slightly below that. And, even yesterday morning, temperatures in the minus 30s once again. Stark contrast to that, low 30s in parts of Spain. We've seen temperatures into the high 30s in places such as Morocco, and indeed the Canary Islands has seen some remarkable warmth as of late as well. The subtle reflection of that and influence of that major stratospheric warming still lingering across the northern hemisphere. Here in the UK, we've been seeing a displaced jet stream. We've been seeing, probably one of the wettest Marches on record. Of course, we had gales during the overnight period, southern England through the Channel, northern France, and that is still that consequence of the major stratospheric warming that took place. And we will see the continuation of those effects even into the first half of April, believe it or not. Here is an interesting tweet by World Climate Service. The mid-February SSW was 6 weeks ago, but models arguably show episodic tropospheric impacts continuing another 4 to 6 weeks. So 89 and 2013 saw much delayed major blocking episodes during spring, many weeks after the SSW. Now, while we're not seeing the most extreme effects like 2013, like 2018, for example, major snowfall, shutting down entire regions for, a week or so, we didn't see that this time around, but we did see the response just not as extreme as 2013 and 2018. But what we are going to see is, this is another tweet here by James Peacock. Signs are atmospheric anomalies relating to the mid-February SSW event will propagate down one more time during the first half of April. So what does that mean? It means that we're going to see an increase in high latitude blocking, and indeed we are going to see that NAO signal within the western United States, trough and southeastern ridge. We're also seeing the effects here in the UK and Europe also here. So the effects are continuing over North America. This is off the CFSV2 weeklies. We've got the deep trough. What an incredible winter it's been over California, over the western half of the United States. Record breaking snow, all time record breaking snow, may I add, has been continuing to bury parts of the Sierra Nevada mountains of California, and indeed as far east as the mountains of the Wasatch Range in Utah, also seeing record breaking snowfall as well. If you haven't already done so, do check out the global weather and climate report from last week and previous weeks. You just have to go into the playlist, and I'll show you here that if you go into the channel itself, you click on playlists. Of course, the European outlooks are available pretty much on a daily basis. I try my best to do daily videos, of course, but if you click on to the global weather and climate report, I do it every Sunday, and it talks about the extremes happening around the world, both weather-wise as well as climate also. So plenty of things to get your teeth into. At a time where you think the weather's starting to get a little bit boring, we're out of the winter, we're not talking about snow and cold anymore. We've got a developing El Nino over the next several weeks. I'm going to be talking more and more about the effects that may have on the UK, Ireland, and European weather pattern, and of course, talking about the global aspects as well every Sunday on the video here. But this is off the CFSV2, and this is the 500 millibar geopotential height anomaly pattern here for the weeklies here. So you notice here that we've got the big strong ridge centered just to the west of Iberia and the means. We've also got another strong ridge to the north of the British Isles Trough, central and southeastern Europe, as you can see here. But this is the response that we see with a major sun stratospheric warming, that drip down effect from stratosphere all the way down into the troposphere. You see the building north of the blocking. What that's essentially going to start to do is it's going to shut down the Atlantic, and we're going to start to see a drier weather pattern developing here. Notice here, for the 8 to 14 day period, we're losing that wetter than normal conditions that we see week 1, as you can see here. You notice here it's starting to weaken, and then indeed week 2 will reverse that pattern, and we'll start to see drier than average conditions developing. And I think the month of April is going to be, on the whole, drier than March. Whether it stays below average precipitation wise or not, that remains to be seen. But I do think I'm leaning towards a drier than average April, in stark contrast to March. And the reason why is because of the effects of the southern stratospheric warming, the Mann-Julian oscillation transition into other phases as well. I'll look at that in a bit more detail in the coming days and weeks as well, of course, because the Mann-Julian oscillation not just affecting winter, but also affecting the summer pattern also here. But you can see the dry theme maintain itself, according to the CFSV2 weeklies, all the way into the month of March here. So that is interesting to see, that's for sure here. Looking at the overall pattern for the month of April, according to the model, look at that, drier than average. And it looks as if we have a 500 millibar pattern that looks like this here. So you can see the northern blocking in response to the SSW that was seen. And that was actually something I highlighted way back when it was occurring in the middle portion of February, that the effects of that may linger all the way through March and indeed into the month of April also here. So drier, and indeed with northern blocking, average conditions temperature wise, below average rainfall, I think is what I'm looking at for the month of April here. So it's a bit of a short and sweet video today, but there's so much content for you to enjoy and look through, so I encourage you to do that. Thanks for watching. Please drop a comment in the section below, of course, and indeed stay tuned. I may probably not have a video tomorrow, but I intend to, of course, be back again Sunday for the 35th edition of the Global Weather and Climate Report. So stay tuned and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Enjoy your weekend coming up. Bye, friends.